Hey guys, I'm super excited. I have Josh Kuchar, who is the son and also runs the company Showami with his dad, Matt. And if you've been following me for a while, I'm a huge advocate of getting help with showing properties. And so when I saw Showami out in the marketplace, I heard it from a couple great agents that they were using this service to be able to get showing appointments booked by other licensed agents, and they were leveraging that. I was like, I'm so excited to figure this out. Today, we got Josh, who runs the company with his dad. So let's find out about how this service works. What does it take to be someone who can sign up to show properties? And then for all my super successful agents, what does it take to be able to get someone that you can trust to show that property for your clients? So Josh, thank you so much for your time.
Patrick, thanks for having me here. My name is Josh Kuchar. I am the head of marketing and sales here at Showami. I do help run the company with my dad. If you haven't heard our origin story, he's a busy agent doing very well, was on the ski slopes, was getting calls from his clients saying, hey, I would like to go see a home. This is when he lived in Colorado. They're like 5:30 Friday, downtown Denver. If you have ever lived in Denver, that is not an easy task to get accomplished. And asking another agent to do that's not the easiest either. So what's he do? Every time he's on the slopes and every time he's on the gondola, calls up another agent, texts another person, tries to get that help. Finally gets the help. Agent was great, showed it. Then the awkward conversation comes and they're like, well, am I getting a commission split for this? And are you paying me? What's going on? He's, I will give you $100 since this was Friday at 5:30 p.m. I understand that's not the most ideal time, but these have bought multiple homes through me. So you only showed one house. I've showed 15 to this guy. So goes through all of this. He sits down afterward, writes on a napkin. He's, we've got to come up with a better idea. There came Showami. We started, like I said, in Colorado. He started the company out of his own necessity as a busy real estate agent. Uses his own product even to this day. If you guys don't know, he is still a licensed agent out of Florida. He, as of right now, actually, he's in Europe and he's, if I need help with the showing, he uses his own service. So
Nice.
don't, unlike most CEOs, they get out of touch with what it's like to still be in the business.
Yeah.
If you don't know how we operate, we have a free sign up. It doesn't cost you anything. You get on board. You can either sign up to be initiating or showing, and it's just a pay per showing service. We have other slew of products for you to check out, but from the very basic, that's what it is.
I guess one of my first questions, is this national?
Yes, we are national, all states. We have over 140,000 agents already signed up.
Awesome. So 140,000 agents signed up between I want to show property and get paid versus I need someone to show property for me.
Exactly. Yes.
Awesome. That's really exciting. Yeah. So can you just take us through a little bit of how it works from both ends, whether or not if you're a newer agent out there, I believe that this is an absolute slam dunk, right? I think all new agents should probably sign up, show more properties, get out, and that would build your confidence and do it respectfully for other great agents. This kind of new agent building great relationships with these seasoned veteran agents, both win-wins. We get more experience over here. Then for my veteran agents who do an amazing job with your buyer consultation, I will give you guys my script that I learned from a mega agent on how to make this work, right? Okay, how does it work? If I'm a newer agent and like, how do I sign up? And then for my veterans, they're going to want to know, how do I know I have someone who is reliable, right?
Yeah.
So can you walk us through how you guys set this business up for it to be safe, effective for all?
Sure. So just so you guys know, when you do sign up on Showami.com or you go through our mobile app, you can do either, or you'll be walked through a process that asks you, hey, do you want to be initiating or showing? Now we're going to start with the showing side. Once you walk through that process, the next step is to pick where you want to show homes. So you will only get requests within a certain parameter or a certain space that you're willing to show. Mostly because if you live in Dallas, you don't want to be getting requests in Florida. It doesn't make sense. Or if you live in Dallas, you don't want to be getting requests in, let's say, in the Austin area.
Yeah.
You don't want to be driving to Houston to do a request anytime soon. So you create that box and you get that. You also agree not to solicit to the client. Now, this is going to come in for the safety of the initiating agent and for your own safety. They already have a buyer's or some sort of agreement in place with the initiating agent before they schedule that showing. So this again is set there so that they're protected and you have an unsolicited clause. Now, what are some of the responsibilities that you do have? You do have, and you can print out an MLS sheet or anything public data. Great. This is this many square feet. Hopefully they already know that. They've already looked at the listing information ahead of time, but those sort of things are acceptable. But what you can't do is you cannot give an opinion of price, condition, or quality of the neighborhood or home. You're simply there to help open the door, be smiley, be kind, and listen. Ask questions. You can ask questions and relay those questions off to the person who initiated. As Patrick said, if you want to build a great relationship with that other agent, you know what you do? You ask questions and you relay that as feedback later. And that way they're just going to keep requesting you, which is a whole other part of Showami. They can give you a 10-minute head start. That's what you want. Ideally, that repeat client that's always asking for more help.
Is there some type of review system? If I was a newer agent and I wanted to build up a good credibility as someone that's reliable, that is professional, is there a review system on this process? How does that work?
Yeah, so our review process goes back and forth. So it's much like a Airbnb process where the showing agent can review the initiating agent and vice versa. So we get to see an idea of the whole picture. Those reviews do play into our algorithm so that you could get more requests later on, the higher your reviews. We also give newer agents a 30-day boost. We understand you're new to Showami. We can't expect you to have 5-star ratings already. That would be impossible. You haven't shown anything. So we give you that 30-day boost to do so.
Nice. That's great. Love it.
Yeah.
How does the financial transaction work? So I'm a new agent. I basically create my profile. I say, this is the geographic territory. I start being super professional and I start building building good reviews with with people in the marketplace. How do I get paid? And what are the payment options and all that stuff?
Yeah. So they are paid per door. So what happens is the initiating agent pays us. And then obviously we run like an Uber. So we do take a portion of that.
Yeah, take a
And we
peek.
give the rest to the agent. We got to keep the lights on somehow. They also will get other requests from those initiating agents. A lot of times the same initiating agent will use the person for open houses, which open house requests come in. If they really like them, they can go through the whole appraisal and inspection process, which essentially is just opening the door for an appraisal or inspector and relaying that information over. So there are other opportunities for them to get cash.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, this is especially good if you're out of town, right?
That's
If you're
fantastic.
out of town and you've got 3 days to get an inspection in that door before closing because you want to close on XYZ date, yeah, you're going to have to start leveraging that. And
How does the payment agreement work between, can I set my fee per hour or per showing or per open house? Or is there a fee offering or is there just a standard? How does that work?
Sure. So the initiating agent does pick the price of the showing.
Okay.
You will understand they're guided by us. We have a whole program for them to go through on their dashboard, and it teaches them, hey, if it's Friday at 5:30, pay an extra 15, 20 bucks.
Yeah.
If it's Tuesday at 2 p.m., that's okay. That's an easy one. You can get away with $50. And so what'll happen is they'll input the price and they can see how much the showing agent makes per that showing request. And the showing agent can take a look at that and say, yes, that's okay. Or they can counter it. And they can counter it on either price or on the time. So if 2 p.m. doesn't work, I can say, yeah, I could show it at 3 p.m. Or if $50 doesn't work, hey, there's a toll. Or hey, I could do this, but it's going to cost you XYZ. They can counter propose.
Oh, cool. So there's a little bit of negotiation in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. That's really great.
And
Yeah,
it's
that's cool.
important to note that these requests go out to 20 agents every 5 minutes until it's been picked up.
Got it.
So if after 20 minutes, if nobody else has given you anything except for that counter proposal, let it go for a little bit longer and then maybe go back to that counter proposal.
Got it. Okay. That makes perfect sense. Is there and then in terms of the way that one of my mega agent friends set it up was he was responsible for setting up the showing and coordinating all the details. then you relay that over to the showing agent. So can you talk a little logistically on who's responsible for what when it comes to this stuff?
So a really important feature that we built ages ago was actually who schedules the showing, right? As the initiating agent, I might know that my buyer wants to go see a home at 2 p.m. on Thursday, but realistically, if that's not available and I didn't schedule it, it'll go to the showing agents and they'll say they need to schedule it. So they'll call the listing agent, figure out what time is available, work through it, and then pick it up or say, hey, it's not available till 2, 3 p.m. I would still have to pick this up.
Got it. So you,
Yeah.
you
So
got you got good flexibility in there for all the variables, right?
and there's notes, there's public notes, there's private notes. Some of the more common public notes we see is things like I need a bilingual agent. And
Mm,
we also see Zoom or FaceTime, a video interaction. So they're
like a
asking
walkthrough
a
video
virtual.
or
Yeah. So especially if, let's say, you haven't seen homes in this area, you just happen to be away, you're on a cruise, you're sick, anything else. You can ask for that agent to walk you through the property. So you're on Zoom the whole time and you're being part of the entire showing request. So that's always nice for certain agents to have that sense of comfortability, especially maybe your first few times using
uh,
Showami.
oh, wow. Okay. So I'm the broker, and then you are showing the property for me, and then I can be on Zoom while you're showing the property with my clients.
Exactly.
That's super cool. What a great little additional bonus. I think
Yeah.
that would probably make a lot kind of people who are skeptical, fearful, this would make them feel way more comfortable.
Oh yeah. It's something that, like, when we have a new person on board, we're like, hey, try this for maybe your first 1 or 2 times. Obviously, you want to grow that comfortability. You want to see how professional the other agent is on the other end. What questions are they answering, if any? And you
Mhm.
actually put yourself on mute the whole time.
Yeah,
You're just the
that's
fly on the wall in a showing, which is quite cool.
that's rad. I like that.
And
That's
in
fair.
certain states, it actually would be, if you think about it, in certain states, that is a requirement, is that the agent does go through the property. And this can satisfy those needs.
Oh, very good. I like that. Nice. Good. How long have you guys had the service running? I actually don't know.
So we've been in business for 7 years now.
Okay.
So it's
You
been,
guys, so you work through all of
all the
enough of the
nuances,
kinks.
the headaches, the how to grow, the complaints, when you've completed over 250,000 showing requests, you grow.
You've learned everything.
You
You've
gotta
learned
learn
everything.
as
Yeah.
you go, which is cool. We also get to use that data later on. And our goal is that hopefully by the end of this year, we build something that has predictive pricing, which is basically suggested pricing. The idea is that, hey, you're scheduling for 7 p.m. or 5 p.m. on a Friday. Here's about what that price goes for in this area.
Nice. Do you guys have any like a feedback structure? I remember a really great agent. I offered myself to do an open house for a great agent in my market center. And he sent me a form to fill out that actually allowed him to have a professional experience between me, him, and his client. And I was
Mm,
really appreciative of that kind of feedback form, even though most agents, I think, are a little unprofessional when it comes to these types of things, which we need to level up our game, everybody. So I respected that form. I filled it out and I delivered that back to the agent, which then maintained his professional relationship with his client and then kept me in a good standing with him. So do you guys have any kind of feedback mechanisms between the showing agent versus the broker or I don't know what I want to, what do I call, what's the
the
what's the
initiating
term over here?
agent.
The initiating agent. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Yeah, so
So
tell me a
we
little bit
do
about
have
that.
Yeah, so we do have that feedback loop. So after the showing is completed, they are given a little feedback form to give that.
Cool.
We do have certain clients that want a little bit extra. So for anybody who's looking for that a little bit extra, just understand we have a tipping system for a reason. And
Oh,
that's one
nice.
of the reasons why we have it was we noticed that feedback being one of those things that people wanted the most. And we were sitting there going, how do we entice people to give more feedback? Anybody who's looked at feedback on showing time understands that it's not always getting feedback. You
Brutal.
might get the feedback you're asking for. So what they're doing is we have a couple people that will put, hey, I'll give you an extra $5 tip if you fill out this form in 24 hours. If you fill
Nice.
it out 2 hours, I will give you a $10 tip, whatever it is. And they put like a Google form in there if they need to. Otherwise, a lot of them just rely on the feedback form that we use, which is just a 3-question free feedback form. Usually, did the client like the property? Yes or no? And then a whole paragraph section on it. And did anything happen or anything we need to know?
Yeah, very cool. How does it work if I have 4 or 5 showings or like a weekend tour or something along those lines? It's a big difference between 1 showing and 5.
Yeah.
How does that work? And have you guys built any cool technology to make this an easier experience for everybody?
Yeah, so we do allow for bulk showing requests up to 5. So we built it so that you can add 5. And I would say usually the agents that are doing that are offering less per door, right? Because they're guaranteed they're getting 4 or 5 showings.
Correct.
And it's with the same client, and the agent picking it up sees every address right there and is able to basically go to the next to the next.
Okay, excellent. And now on the initiating agent side, so for
Yeah.
tons of my clients who are really successful with they have a good control over their clients, want to take advantage of this, so they need to sign up as an initiating agent. How does that process work? You've alluded to a few points here, but let's talk a little bit about on that side.
Yeah, so the few things that I didn't mention on the sign up form for the showing agents, it works great doing the initiating agent as well, is we do verify and check all license numbers. Okay.
Cool.
So we have 2 different databases that we check that against. One, we have a national database. If it works automatically through the APIs, great. If it matches 100%. We understand that my name's Josh could also be come up as Joshua on a license information, and that would create a mismatch in the system, right? Because the name doesn't match what my license is. So we have a manual check also that runs against our people are trained to go on these 2 different databases and check, okay, this is a nickname. This is fine. So when you create that account, you get all set up, and on the initiating agent side, it's just like ordering an Uber or a Instacart. I always like Instacart more because Instacart's ahead of time.
Mhm.
Uber's more instant,
Right.
where, hey, I want 1, 2, 3 showings done. This is the client. This is the time. It is super simple to just fill out. And once you've got your credit card information in, all you need is the credit card information once, and then you just hit those submit buttons. Then you just wait a little bit. Honestly, our average pickup time is 3 minutes, so you don't typically wait very long. I remember one time we were actually at a conference and somebody was like, I'm at a conference. I need help. Show me how to do this. She walks away to another booth and then walks back immediately. She says, somebody already picked it up. Is that true? I'm like, yes. She's, wow. She comes back
Nice.
the next day and gives me all the feedback about it. And she's, we're going to introduce it to our office. But that just goes to show, usually it's about 3 minutes. Unless, again, you're in the middle of nowhere. We've got these areas pockets of land where we may only have 15 agents in. If you give us enough heads up, we actually will recruit more in that area to help pick it up.
Yeah, very cool. I think that's rad. What are some of the most common questions you're getting from the initiating agents?
Sure. So on the initiating agent side, one of the bigger questions we get is, how do I make sure that nobody's there to steal my client? And I think I went over that a little bit earlier, but I want to bring it right back, is that they sign an agreement saying they are not to solicit to your client. And if you have that buyer agency or buyer agreement or anything in place, you're already protected right there and then. So you really shouldn't be worried. And if you have a good relationship, I think that is where it comes down to. Whatever you do, one thing I always recommend is still show your first home with that new buyer. After that, Showami's all for you. But what we found is that certain people will take a Zillow lead, throw it into the system, and hope. They've never met the person. And the person seeing the home gets confused. They think that's you showing them the home. And then it creates this other confusion, this other tension. I've never met my agent. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Number 1 tip, have a relationship.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I think for those of you that we have not met yet, before the NAR settlement, I was a high proponent of a buyer consultation, and I was very confused in the industry why a buyer consultation wasn't always the first step. Now, and I understand that building rapport and learning more about the person face to face is very impactful. But today, now with the new NAR buyer brokerage agreement, we pretty much have to now have that agreement up front. And so I think that does clear the playing field a little bit from the agent that might be worried. We got to
Yeah.
do a better job of establishing a powerful relationship. I got one of my favorite scripts from a very successful agent. His name's Rod Moser. This is 7 years ago. He would book the buyer consultation with the buyer, and he would basically sit with them and explain his value proposition. And they understood that he was an amazing agent. And then he basically said two things. He said, number one, he says, I've seen a lot of properties, over thousands of properties in the marketplace. And so he says, there may be a time, and this is a value proposition to the customer, where he says that my time constraint, I might be booked, and I don't want my schedule to get in the way of getting you into that property. We also have the time constraint of the seller or the listing agent. And so if my schedule is constrained, I need to get you into that property as the priority. So he positions this as a value add to his service, not as a negative, not like I'm just throwing you over to someone else. So for all of you agents that are not really skilled yet with your buyer consultation, let's level that up and then use this as a value add. It's not a negative. We're getting them in on their schedule, on their time, which is better for all of us. Then he would say something funny. He'd say, do you need me to show you where the master bedroom is? And then his customers would laugh and they'd go, no, we don't. And then he says, now, if you love the property, I want you to pick up the cell phone when you're walking out and call me immediately. And then I can then start communicating with the listing agent. If I need to go over to that property to walk through it to confirm with you, great, we'll do that. And, or if we need it, I'll schedule that second showing where you and I can spend a little bit more time there together. But the priority is to get you into the property as fast as possible so that we can be ahead of the competition in a highly competitive environment. And I don't want my schedule to be the constraint. Now, that was 7 years ago before I even knew about a Showami. And I thought that was genius. And he was paying $50 per showing or whatever the number was appropriate to the marketplace, right? In some marketplaces, it might be higher, some it might be a little lower. Great. So my friends out there, this makes perfect sense if you are doing a great job with your buyer consultation and then using this as a value add, not as a, I'm just throwing you to the wolves, right? You don't need to do that. So anyways, Josh, what else do we need to know about Showami and how this works? A lot of people might be asking, how does your percentage work? Is it a lot? Is it a little? Like, what is this transparent? Is it not transparent? How are you guys playing that out?
Yeah, so we do everything's full transparency. The agent initiating shows exactly how much. And in fact, on our website, you can go to showami.com and I think it's calculator. Anyway, we have a pricing calculator on the website.
Great.
So you have access to seeing exactly what the percentage cuts look like. You'll even see tips. Hey, the agent gets 97%. We have to take the only 3% for credit cards. That's it. The tip is theirs, but we do have to take this because early on we did it. So this is a fun story, right? We didn't do that for a whole year. When we launched it, we didn't realize it. We're like, wow, we're losing a lot of money out of somewhere. Like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Like, our credit card fees went through the roof because we didn't charge for this. And we were like, okay, we don't want to take money. We just want to cover the cost of the credit card fee. Cool. So we figured that part out. But everything.
What other concerns or challenges or funny stories do you have about what agents say versus what's the reality?
Sure. So I know you got a lot of busy brokers and agents. We built things for team and for brokerages. So we have a solution that allows for your agents to get a head start on the requests. So let's say you have agents throughout Texas, you're in Dallas, you don't want to show in Houston. It can go to your agents first, but at the end of the day, you're still covered. After they don't pick it up, somebody else will pick it up. So we have solutions in place like that. And that goes for anybody that's in that brokerage solution. That's what we call it. So there's a solution there for busy brokerages that are like, I still would prefer my team to get it picked up first. And I get that. I would too. I know how they're going to behave and act. But
so there's the mega team solution and a brokerage solution. That's
same thing. Yeah, same.
Awesome. Very cool.
We just call it a brokerage solution because it just makes sense. But yes, mega teams can definitely use this. If you've got, I think our minimum is 10 agents for this solution.
Okay.
We've, that was also peak because we were starting to let 5 and they would close it. We're like, that doesn't work. The closing is only your agent's show for your agents. We understand we built it for those that like that. I will tell you 98% of brokerages that have ever used that have dissipated that solution and opened it up or completely left because it doesn't work.
Yeah. If there's not enough players, the service wouldn't work. Yeah. So that makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
So,
Also,
you guys have found that
yeah,
having 10 or more agents, the
is
solution
ideal.
works,
Yeah.
right?
Because
But
it,
when
with
it's less
10 or less, you can also just text people in your office. Like, why are you, because that's small. You can have a group chat
exactly.
with 10 people. But once you get past 10 people, group chat sucks. I don't want to be part of it anymore.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
I would also expand your guys' thoughts a little bit here. One of the bigger use cases we've got is people who are looking to expand their business or are moving. So I live in Florida, but if I was to move to North Carolina, I don't want to give up all my business in Florida and refer everything out. I can still leverage Showami for those showings. So for
Yeah.
those
Fair.
same clients who buy 1 or 2, I can still leverage it and keep my license in Florida and have
Nice.
my license in my new state. So really thinking about new state, new territory. Again, if you need to see the property, you can still be videoed in. But as I said earlier, if you've seen 10,000 homes in that area, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I would say we've got solutions for that.
I think this makes perfect sense. Regarding brokers and leaders out there, I've said this openly. I don't understand why brokers and leaders didn't create this solution already inside of their companies so that we can have new agents who need experience, who have time, and they need money. And we have all these top agents who have all the business, who have all the control, and don't have enough time and need help. And there's no solution between the two of them to appropriately and professionally create a little marketplace. We've seen all the marketplaces guys out there, like the Fiverr.coms or the Odesk.coms. Like when I saw this solution, I was like, this is what the industry's been missing from the brokerage side for this whole time. So you guys have already perfected all of the problems, 250,000 showings, hundreds of thousands of agents already on board. So my friends, we're not testing this out for the first time. Jump on there, explore your options, and obviously give them feedback.
A couple of other markets that we've seen are agents that just hold their status in referral, or what we call the semi-retired agents that just need something to do on the weekends. We have a lot of those that sign up. And then the second one that we see a lot more signups lately is maybe you're just new to the area. So in order to, and I love this. Exactly. You're seeing where I'm going right away with that. If I were to move, how do I get to know my market better? Aside from Uber driving.
Yeah, there's no better way.
No better way than to get paid to go show homes. I think that's
every agent needs to show more homes to gain higher levels of experience and knowledge, period. End of story. My dad was on stage at my brother's conference last week at the Success Summit. And the simple advice that he said was, you need to A, be prospecting more, which everybody knows, but B, he says you need to be previewing more properties. And the reason is when I was a new agent in San Diego, Josh, right now, I've been in the industry for 13 years, but I was new to San Diego. I didn't realize this advice and I dismissed it. But what I started to notice was the more subdivisions I went in, the more properties I went into, the more comps I did, all of a sudden my confidence started rising. And instead of needing a bunch of sales scripts to get a client to be working with me, it was actually just my ability to explain, oh, that community, that neighborhood, this types of properties, these types of price points. And the moment I started speaking powerfully through my experience, the people were literally attracted to me. But yeah, if you're a new agent, if you're just looking to keep working, make a few extra bucks, or if you're new to a marketplace, this is an absolute slam dunk to gain that confidence and to make a few bucks. Josh, is there anything else in your service that you guys are offering to the agents out there that is unique?
Sure. So we do have a whole property management side of the business. So anybody who is managing rentals can schedule rental requests for, let's say, tours or open houses We've also even seen condition report requests where maybe it's been on the market in an area that's known to unfortunately have squatters. So they're like, hey, just go in, check, make sure nobody's there. Also make sure that it's the middle of winter, that nothing's frozen over. We just need a
Oh,
quick
very
condition
interesting.
report.
Yeah, very interesting. As well. Yeah, I have a couple really great property management agents, and I know that those showings take up a huge amount of their time and drives them up the wall as their coach. I'm like, your dollar per hour is not being served there.
No.
We need to push that off because I need their dollar per hour to be way higher, i.e., the buy back your time formula, right? Everybody,
Yeah.
if you are still wondering whether or not you should buy back your time, the answer is yes. And read this book right here, right? And you'll understand why you can spend $50 per hour for a showing, which really is like 2 hours, right?
Mhm.
So very cool. All right, Josh. So everybody's going to jump on Showami and get themselves signed up and start to explore all of their options. And then look forward to any feedback. Leave a comment down below. Share this with a broker or a friend or any one of the agents that needs to create some income right now and has time. Please share this video with them so that they can start to take advantage of this and grow themselves in the business. Josh, thank you so much. And thank your dad. And we'll see you guys around.
Yeah, thank you for having me.